Hey, welcome back to episode 9 of our series on JavaScript arrays. If you missed episode 1, go ahead, check that out. That talks about all the different methods that you can call on a JavaScript array. And also check out episodes 2 through 8. That is where we actually take these methods and solve some problems with it. We're trying to advance every episode just a little bit more and try and solve a more complicated problem every time. So today we are trying to solve the problem of removing duplicates from a sorted array. So what exactly does that mean? Let's say we have a 1, a 2, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 4, a 4, a 4, and a 5. What we want to output would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the idea here is that we have a sorted array. This is an ascending, so from lowest to greatest. And we have numbers that have duplicates inside. And we only want to output the unique numbers. So we don't want to, we want to get rid of this duplicate. We want to get rid of this duplicate here. And we just want to output 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There are 3 different approaches I've come up with for doing this. The first one would be a simple loop, in which case we are outputting to a new array. The idea here would be that we have this one here, and if it is the first one, we push it. Then we move on to index 1. We compare index 1 to the one to the left. If it is not the same, we push it. Then we look at index 2. We look at the value to the left of it. It is the same, so we go ahead and move forward. Then we have index 3. We look at index 2. It is different, so we push index 3 in. We have index 4. And we look at index 3. And it's different, so we push it. Index 5, look at 4, it is the same, so we go on. Index 6, we look at 5, it is the same, so we go on. And our last index, and we look at the index to the left, and it is different, so we push it into the array. So there's a simple loop that we can do with that, where we just do a simple comparison between the value and the value in the index to the left. The next one is by using a filter method. And we would combine that, of course, with the index of. So basically, we have a filter where we pass in the item and the index, and we see if the index of the item is the same as the index we are passing in, because the index of item only takes the first item that it finds and outputs it. So it's basically doing the same thing here of comparing whether or not the index that we are on, let's say we're on this 4 here, which would be index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, index 6, but our first would be index 4. So 6 and 4 are not the same, so it would not be passed out. And then our last one is by using a set. Now remember, a set is something we talked about in last episode, episode 8, where we did a brief introduction. Again, in the next series, we're going to introduce hash maps and maybe hash sets. So we'll go further into depth with those. But for now, we're going to be using just a simplified version. And remember, what a set does is it gets unique numbers. So if I pass in a 1, the set has 1 inside. If I pass in a 2, set has 2 inside. If I pass in another 2, the set already has a 2, so it moves on. 3 includes a 3, 4. Okay, then 4 again, already has a 4. Just goes on and on until we get all of them. And then what we want to do after that is deconstruction. Deconstruction. So remember, that would be the ... of the set. And we just pass that out as an array. So let's go ahead and talk about some of these time and space complexities. So let's see, let's take a look at our first one. So we have a simple loop. So our time complexity of the loop, we're going through every single one of these. That'd be O of n. Okay, and we're outputting to a new array. So this array here, this is O of 5, but remember, worst case scenario is all of these are unique numbers. So that would also be O of n, because that is how many potential new numbers that we would have to add in. Let's move on to number 2, our filter item and index of. So basically, when you use filter and index of, there's going to be some issue here because it would be n squared pretty much. O of n times n. Because for every item we look through, we have to look through all of the items again. So we have n times n, if that makes sense. So basically every item, it gets passed in. So this one, and then I compare it to every item inside of here in order to get the first index. So worst case scenario, again, this is an O of n, and filter is O of n, so n times n is n squared. So n squared pretty much. And using a loop. And then let's see what else. And then, oh yeah, sorry. Going down here. What would be our space complexity for our filter method? That would be O of n as well. And then moving on to our last one, our dot set. Dot set is special because that will be O of n, because we are creating a new set of unique numbers, pretty much. And our space complexity is also O of n. Yeah. So basically, let's drop back up the here time complexity of our set. So O of n in order to create the set, and then O of n again to deconstruct it. So really, this is actually 2n, O of 2n, but we get rid of the 2 at the beginning. And then here, space complexity, we have O of n because we are creating the new set. All right, let's go ahead and code these up real quick. We're going to start out with our simple loop. So here we go, function. We'll call it remove duplicates, and we'll call it loop, not lop, loop. And inside we will pass it an array, a sorted array. And then out here we'll say let output, we could call them unique numbers, let unique numbers equal, ba-bam. And then down here we will say for let I equal 0. I is less than array dot length I plus plus. So basically the idea is if array at I, but we need to take into account our first one, if I equals 0, or array at I does not equal array at I minus 1. So basically we have array at I, so that is our first variable. We have nothing to compare it to. It will always be unique. Put it to the output. And we have array at I is not equal to array at I minus 1. So here we have our 2 not equal to 1, so we push it out. We have 2, it is equal to 2, so we would not push it. We would say unique numbers and dot push. And what are we pushing? We're pushing array of I. Very good. And then our output would be return unique numbers. And we'll come down here and we'll say console.log. What are we doing? We will be doing remove duplicate, and we're calling it a loop. Inside we'll pass it 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 5. So this should get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Basically, let's run through this real quick. We have a 1. It is the first index, so it will automatically be pushed here. Okay, and then we look at our second 1. It is not the first index, but it is equal to this one. So we continue on. We do not push it. Then we go to this 2. It is not the first index, and it is different. It is not the same value as the I minus 1, so it gets pushed. 2. Again, it is not the first index, but it is not different than the previous value. Then we get the 3. 3 is not the first index, but it is different than the index to the left, so we push it. 4, same thing. 5, same thing. This 5 here, it is not the first index, but it is the same value as the previous index. So we move on, we do not push it. Get to this 5, same thing. It is the same value as this one. So over here, we should get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's go ahead and run it. And we do get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that is a quick way of using a loop. Our next one is to use the filter method. This is a pretty simple line of code. Function, we'll call it remove duplicates, and remove duplicates, and what do we call this? We'll call it filter, and inside we'll pass an array. And let's see, what are we going to do? We're going to call return, because it's just one line of code, array.filter. So remember, we're using our filter method, and we can deconstruct it out to an item. Oh, not clipboard item. Say item, and we can also get the index from this item. Then over here we say array dot index of, and what are we doing? We're passing in this item here, and is it equal to the index we are calling? If so, then we will keep it. If not, it will be ignored. So let's quickly run through this this function using this here. So we pass in this input 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 5. Actually, let's go ahead and write it down here. Console.log, and we will pass in, whoopsies, remove duplicates filter, and we'll pass in 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, just to make it easy. So basically, we'll pass in this array here, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it goes in here. We get our first item. Item is 1. It's 1 here, and our index would be 0. So we say array, this array here, index of item. The first one we get is 0. Is 0 equal to 0? Yes, it is. Then we will keep it. Then we move on to our next one. We have this one here. We pass it in 1 and an index of 1. Array of index 1. That would give us 0. That is our first element that appears. Is that index 0. It is not equal to 1. So we move on. Then we get this 2. We have 2 as our item. Our index is 2. We say array of index 2. The first item that is 2 to appear is this 2. So it would be a index 2 equals 2. So yes, we will keep it. Then we move on to our 2 at index 3. So we have 2 and 3 here. We say index of 2. That would give us this 2 here, which is at index 2. So we have 2 is equal to 3. That is not true, so we ignore it. Then we do 3, 4, and 5. And those would be true. So those would also be outputted, 3, 4, and 5. So let's go ahead and run it. What do we get? Ba-bam, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, that is pretty good. But remember, that is not the best time complexity, because worst case scenario of this is O of n, and this is O of n, so n times n is n squared, which is not good. All right, and then we'll move on to our very last one, which is using a set. So remember, when we create a set, it will be O of n, because we do not know if every element inside of this array is a set. And yeah, it's pretty straightforward what we do. And yeah, so basically we have function. We'll call remove duplicates, and set. Inside we'll pass an array. Again, this will be one line of code. We can say return. Then we have this. Then we will spread it out. New set. And inside we will pass an array. So this is a simple way of writing it. Here's another way that we could write it out, just so it makes more sense to you. What that does there is we could say let unique equal new set, and inside we pass it an array. So this is our new set here of unique values, and then we say let unique array equal, and then we spread out this set unique, and then we say return unique array. So that's what that previous line of code did, is that it creates a new set out of this array. So all the duplicates are removed in this set. It is then passed down here, where we turn this set into an array by spreading out the values inside of the set, and then we finally return the array that we made. But remember, it's easier to just do return spread new set, and we're creating the set from this array. So we say console.log, what are we going to do? Remove duplicates set, and inside we'll pass it the array 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7. And we should get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 over here. Bloop, bloop, bloop. And we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Very good. So those are 3 different ways of removing duplicates from your array. Now remember, they all have about the same time complexity, except for the filter method, because we're doing indexOf. You could combine this with a set, where you could use filter, and we say array, the new set has item. That'd be O of 1 instead of this O of n. But if you're gonna go ahead and use a set, you might as well do it this way. So yeah, very cool. Well, I guess no, that would not be true. Ignore what I said about that. Well, the main takeaway is you want to use this one, or you want to use this one here. Anyways, thank you. I hope you learned a bit. If you have any questions, post them below. I'll try and answer you. Thank you for your support, and have a great day.